Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Bad Movie Night. My name's Chris, and tonight I'm talking about May the Devil Take You 2, which is a sequel to the 2018 movie May the Devil Take You, both written and directed by Timo Tjahjanto. I'm probably pronouncing that wrong. I apologize. So I talked about May the Devil Take You back when it came out, and I really enjoyed that movie. Kind of an Indonesian take on Evil Dead, but it had great effects, great look, great set and everything. It really came together to be a fun piece. And this is the follow-up. Really not sure what to expect with this. I thought the first movie was fun. And this movie I think was even more impressive. So right away, I really love the look of this movie. It's got like a subdued color palette. There's not like a bunch of vibrance to the colors. It just kind of looks really great. There's a lot of noise. And just the camera work in this movie is excellent. There's a scene like 20-25 minutes into this movie where there's about 8 characters sitting down at a dinner table, and that scene really impressed me because those kind of scenes sitting around at a dinner table, boring as they can be in a lot of movies and completely forgettable, they're incredibly difficult to shoot. There's so much things you have to keep in mind when you're shooting something like that. One, you want the movie to be compelling, so you don't want it to just be cut back and forth over people's shoulders the whole time. But keep in mind, this many characters, they're all doing things. You have to keep consistency in lighting. You have to have so many setups to get everyone and their reactions. It takes a lot of competence to pull off one of those scenes and pull it off well. And this was really well done. There was even like stylish flares with the camera work a lot of times within just this sequence alone. So right away, there's just a lot of confidence and competence behind his directing, I think. He's just improved quite a bit in the last few years alone. So I really enjoyed this movie. It is a continuation of the first movie. You have some carryover characters who kind of get pulled back into this whole thing by a bunch of orphans who have a backstory. Obviously demonic presence and stuff like that. I'm not going to get too much into the plot of this movie because it's not terribly plot heavy. There's a few moments and a few twists and turns along the way, but there's just a ton of good horror effects and scares and tense sequences. They really upped the ante in this one compared to the first one, and I thought the first one went pretty balls out for the most part. So yeah, this movie is creepy, it is funny, it is fun, it is well shot, well acted. The sound design's great. I really like the musical score as well. I think we get to some maybe spoilers, but I think the ending and some of where it goes is a little bit much, but it's hard to criticize too much. It is a sequel to a movie that kind of went crazy to begin with, and so you have to up the ante from there. And I think this movie consistently does throughout. There's a lot of effort that went into this movie, so many little touches here and there with camera work, and some of the best stuff are these horror set pieces and sequences where they just really cleverly use the camera to either highlight and build tension and suspense by showing you little things in the background, but then because of the way the camera moves and stuff like that, it just makes the sequence so effective and so well done. I just really impressed by some of the direction going on in this movie. Storyline, it's fun. It's, I wouldn't say typical demonic possession thing. It's very Evil Dead-ish. This movie is less like the Sam Raimi Evil Dead and more like the Fede Alvarez, where it takes this subject matter, for the most part, really seriously. And like visually as well, these just really gross stuff. People are possessed and they look terrifying and they're intense. There's some homages to like The Exorcist and stuff with like crab walking, and it's really highlighted by cool sound design where you hear like the stepping and stuff like that. There's sequences where a woman's possessed in the camera, you hear something, it pans down, she's just kind of going crazy with the knife. I thought that stuff was awesome, just great little touches here and there. They also thought out a lot of the transitions between sequences and scenes in really clever ways a lot of times. That's stuff that's easy to forget about sometimes, you just want a harsh cut, but these little moments where they just took the time to think about this stuff really add. It just all builds. There's so many little things that make this movie much more impressive to me than it could have been. There's just a ton of effort that I really appreciate. I will say this movie is on Shudder, and their compression sucks ass. I would really want to see this movie on Blu-ray because it is dark a lot of times, and like I said, they really add a lot of noise and the lighting is subdued. They're trying to go for like a more film look, I think. It makes the production seem more legit. But because the compression sucks ass on the Shudder's viewer, like there's so much pixelation and stuff, I think this movie would probably look better if you saw it on Blu-ray. I mean, that's kind of obvious, but if you saw something on like this on Vimeo or something like that with less compression, it would also give it a cleaner look. So there is some obvious tropes and, like I said, some homages to other things that you've seen before, but it doesn't really matter because execution on all these things is so well done. There's a few moments near the end with some questionable CGI, and the end is kind of questionable to me in some ways. So when the ending, and this is slight spoilers, so I would say if you don't want to hear anything about this movie, go watch it because it's definitely worth a view. But some spoiler stuff. The end of the movie gets a little ridiculous with its whole like feels like Star Wars-esque force, powers and stuff like that. It has to ramp up. It has to up the ante from the first one, and it just gets a little bit more out there with its supernatural aspect. I mean, sure, you're dealing with demons and all that kind of crap, so I get it. I don't know. I'm nitpicking here. I kind of feel like it probably naturally has to go somewhere like that, but it does get a little ridiculous, although it gets kind of fun too when she's using the metal sign to like fight demons with magic powers and shit. So it just, when you're doing that kind of thing and everything's so serious, it starts to become a little more silly, I think, is all. It kind of hurts the tone of the movie. But overall, I still really enjoyed it. Yeah, I was very impressed with this movie. I think Timo is becoming a very mature filmmaker. I look forward to all of his stuff. I was just looking back at his IMDb, and there's movies I haven't seen of his, and it makes me just want to go back and check them out. There's a big cast, You got like eight people, I think. There's a lot going on in this movie in one location, and he makes everything so compelling. The shots are so nice. The scare sequences are not always unique, but they're well executed, and the ones that aren't are unique and scary. There's creepy imagery. The actors are good. The lead is asked to do quite a bit range of emotion-wise. She's sad, she's happy, she's scared, terrified. Like, there's just a lot going on in this movie. This is the perfect time to watch it too, and this might be like one of my favorite horror movies of this past, Halloween season so far. This movie was great. I really enjoyed it. I think it's super entertaining, and it holds nothing back. It is aggressively scary and gory and violent in a way that I just really loved. So yeah, May the Devil Take You Too, now available on Shudder. It's worth checking out if you have, and the first one is as well if you haven't seen it. I will say there is connective tissue between this and the first one that took me a moment because I didn't quite remember all the details of the first one, and they kind of expect you to remember some of it. So that's going to do it for May the Devil Take You Too. If you've checked it out, let me know what you think down below, and then let me know what I should be watching. Catch you here next time, guys. Goodbye.